Hello everybody. Welcome to Game 3 between areaSaroVati and Pride. Right now, I am doing a small test of faith. I've been experimenting with the hotkeys and this awesome new overlay created by my amazing and talented sister to just kind of give you guys the optimal viewing experience and introduction to each game of StarCraft 2. And so I'm pushing the hotkey to swap into StarCraft right now, but I'm not going to alt-tab out to check if XSplit actually did it. So if I end up casting this whole thing, the hotkey didn't work, I'm going to feel so stupid. Like, so yeah, game starting out right now. And a little bit of banter going on between the players, actually. Let me get up the tabs right now. areaSaroVati, the purple Protoss in the bottom left right here, and Pride is playing as the blue Terran in the top right. And it looks like there's a little bit of kind of balance disagreement going on right here. Pride not enjoying the TVP matchup right now. Ultimately, imbalances might certainly be a thing in FRB games. However, there hasn't been anything that's been kind of consistently shown to be too powerful for any one race. There's actually a tournament going on right now, and a bit of a shameless plug. I'm one of the 3 folks who is working together to organize the FRB Grand Tournament. Huge shout out go to Pull and Yaki, the other 2 guys who I've been working with, who've just been unbelievably helpful. Those guys are just amazing, and you should check out Pull's channel. And if you see like Yaki online or you see any of his posts and stuff like that, give him a huge props, because it's really been a team effort to try to get this tournament off the ground, and generally to try to get this tournament or like one of the things that we're trying to get out of this tournament is to kind of test for balance things. That we have a really excellent lineup of players, including Complexity Gonzi and Vile Illusion, IS Axelav, Startail Rainbow. areaSaroVati is going to be taking part as well. And there's in fact a almost full lineup. I think that we're up to 14 pros right now. And so even though it started out as just a really small community thing, we're going to have really excellent players playing on this map. So if honestly anybody can find a consistent imbalance on these maps, it's going to be these guys. They're just so good at the game with such good micro and such good game sense that if there's some kind of like Roach Wing all-in that people have suggested, or if, for example, Archon Charge Lot, which is something that Pride was mentioning in the chat right in the beginning of this game, that's imbalanced, they're gonna find it and abuse it to actually win $150. So we actually had to, the community has been amazing for this tournament. We've been consistently getting messaged by people saying, how can I contribute to the tournament? We're actually not taking more contributions right now because we have a $150 prize pool on the line. We feel like for a first tournament and for a kind of like not quite fully tested idea, that's a good amount of money. It's attracted some very nice pro attention. And ultimately, we don't really want somebody to win because they figured out the one IMBA strategy and walk away with like $600 or something. That would leave a really sour taste in our mouths, and I think the community would generally agree with us that this is kind of like more for like experimenting and fun than it is for trying to really like reward the highest level of play right now. But if this if this tournament is successful, there will definitely be a FRB Grand Tournament too. Though it's time for me to stop talking about the awesome events that are upcoming and start talking about the awesome events that are happening right now. In Game 2, Pride also did a bunker rush much like this, and actually he has managed to force a cancel, though that's kind of better than it was for SaroVati in the last game, where it actually killed off the expansion, dealt some probe damage, and was very effective for Pride to do against that kind of expansion first play. Though in that game too, SaroVati was able to immediately counterattack with, I think, 5, maybe it was 6 overall stalkers. Yeah, I think it started with 6 and one of them accidentally died. And because of his micro and the kind of like weakness of Marines against well-microed stalkers, he was able to just straight up counterattack and kill his opponent. It was really awesome to watch, and definitely showcased the skill that SaroVati has at the micro of Protoss. So right now SaroVati very smartly taking this bottom base right here. This is kind of the natural third to defend if you can get control of this area. Actually, I should have mentioned, this map is Devolution by Baron, the very first map that was released for FRB games. And this third is pretty easy to take. There's a destructible rocks right here that you need to kind of keep an eye on, and drops that abuse this ledge right here, or kind of air harass for like Banshees or other things like that, are also quite popular. But it's generally not the hardest third to take that we see in some of the FRB maps. Right now, these stalkers coming in still doing a little bit of that harassment, though, because the bunker's actually done. not going to be as effective. I do not think that areaSaroVati will be able to just take this carry right to a victory. And actually, he might lose a Stalker. Oh, a bit of clumsy play right there. He's only managed to kill off 1 Marine in exchange for the 125 mineral and 50 gas Stalker. The 50 mineral Marine is just really not a worthwhile trade. However, because he took this base so quickly after losing this one, he's actually not that far behind economically. And actually, taking a look at Pride's view, yeah, he has no idea whatsoever that this has been taken. So he actually thinks that he's probably considerably in the lead right now, but is, in fact, only just about equal, as we see on these supplies. areaSaroVati with a just very, very small supply lead. He does have to watch out with these Stalkers, though. He does not want to lose them clumsy at the front of his opponent's base. Going for a very fast Twilight Council, which is probably for some blink play with the number of Stalkers that he has been making, but could also definitely be for the Dark Templars, though that would be a little bit odd. But I think that a High Templar, or Templar Archives, I should say, would be very, very good for him. However, the blink has been immediately started. 2 more gateways being thrown down, and the engineering bay for Pride right now, so that he can begin getting those critical upgrades versus Protoss. And as we look around his base, just mass bio play. No factory coming down yet. In fact, a nice little wall defensive setup right there. So if some blink Stalkers with maybe an observer to blink up into the main start being utilized by areaSaroVati, this could be very, very hard for Pride to deal with. He really doesn't have, in fact, just now, the first Marauder coming and concussive shells on the way. So it could be very difficult for him to deal with the consistently good micro-harassment that we have seen areaSaroVati doing. This one base being almost walled in, actually, by gateways. It's a little funny to see. It's probably going to be turned into warp gates almost immediately. Blink is a little bit less than halfway done, but 2 more tech labs are being thrown down on these barracks. So the time that blink Stalkers have to make good on essentially their mobility and things like that is slowly shrinking, because Marauders with concussive shells can deal very well with all kinds of Stalkers, including blink Stalkers. Right now, we do see, though, that on the back of this mobility and map control that he has, areaSaroVati very smartly expanding. His opponent's stuck on 2 base, so if he can get that 3rd up, it will allow him to get the kind of additional money, additional resources he needs to begin specifically countering his opponent's build. Some good blink micro going on right there, though he does need to pull away before. Well, wow, that was great. A nice blink once again. areaSaroVati's control has been excellent so far. I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be able to do in the FRB Grand Tournament, because I think that he'll be bringing his A game, particularly if he has the opportunity to play against some of the phenomenal players that he will also be taking part in the tournament. A lot of workers having been pulled off the line in order to defend. He still hasn't lost a Stalker, I don't think. So many of them have been consistently weakened and like have no shields whatsoever left, but just very good blink micro. And right now, Pride is just kind of trying to build up to that one critical mass of units. The Templar Archives is almost done. I'm not sure he's going to have time for Stim before, I'm sorry, not Stim, Storm, before this army's going to start moving out across the map. The 3rd command center is almost done, so I do think that Pride is going to be pushing out here and forcing these units away so that he can take his 3rd sooner rather than later. Another option that he has would be to knock down a small backdoor rocks at the natural in order to get at the mineral only base, which is right here, but sorry, I just really want to keep watching the very pretty blink Stalker micro that areaSaroVati has been showing us. So yeah, now that there's a small lull in that, there's a backdoor rocks right here that can be used on offense in order to try to get units in and kind of circumvent an overly well-defended front right here. But also, and actually, we can see right here, he's already floated the command center out. So he obviously won't be taking this base, but it would have been another option for him. Though this base has already been taken and is fully saturated. When we look at the unit stats, 54 probes versus just 49 SCVs, so a small macro advantage because for areaSaroVati right now, just because there are no mules, so that 1 mule will kind of even that out a little bit. So the High Templars are done. I think that, yeah, Storm is almost ready, so I need to see those guys and how much energy they have. They will have enough energy to land Storms. Well, if this army can be delayed a little bit more. 1 almost has it, and the other 2 are very close, so this is going to be a critical time. If Pride pushes in right now and stims, he might be able to do a ton of damage, but the first Storm lands, and it's pretty good, softening up those units by a lot. Right now, those other units have almost enough energy, though a big stim right now, and if that bio gets stormed again, it's going to be horrible. Though, like little lag spikes that are consistently going down might really mess with areaSaroVati right here. Oh yeah, a whiff storm. I'm worried that that's because of the small bit of lag that we've been having. However, it does look like he does have enough for 1 more storm. Oh no, and he whiffs that one too. Though it is looking like, because of the consistent stims and because of kind of slightly hitting with those storms, eventually this army is going to be forced back. And actually, one thing that also should not be underestimated is the advantage of having this 3rd base so much faster. when we just look at the, not the unit skill tab, the army tab, it actually very slightly favors Pride, but I do believe it was probably favoring areaSaroVati before that engagement started. Also, the one Archon done. If there's one unit that does not need any micro whatsoever, it is the Archon. Well, I'm just kidding. It probably needs a little bit of micro, but let's be honest. They smash force fields, they move around, they kill anything with the biological unit type. So, Archons are a definite nice choice if you're worried about a little bit of lag or just don't quite have the control to be a super go-to player like Pride and areaSaroVati. Right now, a small group of probes moving here, and actually he's going to be taking his 4th base. So areaSaroVati getting right into the variant, expanding very consistently, also moving out this army to have map control. It's very, very smart of him to not leave it at this choke like you would ordinarily see in your average game of StarCraft 2. When you're on 3 bases, you kind of leave your army really close by to try to protect those bases because they're all nice and clumped up. Instead, you need to be much more active in a fewer resources per base game. Get out there, engage your opponent, keep very close tabs on where their army is. And actually, right now, there could be a huge engagement right here. These High Templar in the back. Wow, that was not a whiff storm. Oh man, that was very, very bad for Pride to walk into. These 2 medevacs not with very much energy to start with, and finally, some ghosts are on the way to try to deal with those High Templar, but it has definitely looked as though Pride is... sorry, I'm reading a little bit of the text right here. Pride has been consistently stuck on 3 bases while his opponent almost has his 4th ready to go. And yeah, he's just saying that all he needs is Ghost to beat his army, so we're going to have to see if he is right. Though with some proper unit splitting and with a little bit of upgrades, other things like that, no charge yet. Charge would be an enormous boon for areaSaroVati to have. And if a couple more things go his way, it might not be possible for pure Ghost to make up for the kind of macro disadvantage Pride has slowly found himself in by not having this additional base. There's a big move out through the middle right here. And as we see a huge warping of High Templar. I don't know if he's going to just be immediately turning those into Archons or waiting for Storm. Or sorry, for them to get the energy for Storm. That charge is actually now on the way. Pride moving out, taking control of this tower, so there's just a bit of posturing going on in the middle. Very, very clever play by this High Templar. If he tries to stim up that ramp, he will find himself in a world of hurt as that one High Templar... Oh, actually, it looks like he's going down to defend this base, but that's also a good decision, though attacking around that corner is actually pretty bad for areaSaroVati. One okay Storm, some EMPs going down, most of the regular Zealots losing most of their shields. And the High Templar have enough energy almost for storms. Okay, one good storm going down right there, killing off most of the ghosts, though a lot of the AoE is currently gone. He's going to need to get the Archons up in the front to deal with this Bio Forces. And Pride very smartly stemmed just a part of his army to go and attack the High Templars that were trying to retreat. Though now these Archons are moving right in and just cleaning up this force. They've been stemmed but are incredibly weak. All of these medevacs have no energy whatsoever left, so they are slowly being hunted down and killed by the very fast stalkers and the very damaging attacks of the Archons. Though there is another army ready to go for areaSaroVati. He is trying to heal up those little bit of forces. There's several more ghosts on the field, though charge is almost done with +2 weapons on the way, though actually +2 weapons also on the way for the Marines and Marauders, and actually they already have 1 armor done, so the upgrade advantage definitely going to Terran for the time being. Right now, there are a lot of very high energy Templars, so it's going to all be in the micro for this upcoming engagement. Supplies are almost identical, though that one big warp in might give areaSaroVati a big advantage, though that's a very, very nasty choke, unless you have storms dropped on you, enormous storms, and he walks back into them. He even goes and makes them into an Archon so that they were not killed off by, oh no, and like Pride has to GG. This was just a devastating choke for him to be caught in, and unfortunately he lost so much of his army to the follow-up by the charge ups and the charge lots and the Archons that, yeah, he was just not able to finish them off. So thanks everybody for watching. I do hope there's going to be a game 4 coming up after this, and if there is, I will definitely bring that to you in just a moment.